Every host of every podcast has to have the theme music, right? Well, we're going to take that. Sorry, y'all, my shirt is not acting right. Y'all are seeing all of my stuff under there, so let me readjust really quickly. Anyway, how are you doing today? I am Kisa. I am Coach K, and I'm welcoming you in today to this edition of the Daily Dating Show, where we talk about Monday through Thursday, most days of the week, we're talking about relationship success and how we make it happen. Well, we look at it from two angles, really. We look at relationship challenges and relationship success. Hopefully, in seeing some of those challenges, we attain success in seeing those challenges and dealing with those. So who am I? I am Keisha Sharp, Coach K. Need a little more information about me? No problem. All you have to do is go on my site, okay? KeishaSharp.com/life coaching. I am a double certified life coach, master communicator, award-winning author, former corporate spokesperson, and former Birmingham, Alabama news anchor, current writer for the Birmingham Times. Media is just in my blood. Communication is just in my blood. When God created me, I guess he said, this woman is a communicator. Go forth and prosper, right? But he's gifted you with some amazing things as well. My prayer and my hope is that you are walking in the call in which he has created you to pursue. So we're diving right in today. We have been dealing with relationship red flags all week. And I'm here at Creed. And listen, because I just like to do things like this, I'm showing you the sign that's here. It talks about success, embracing the challenge, and always do your best, okay? Love it here at Creed. Snuck in on a time when not as many entrepreneurs are here today. So I came in and I can kind of work on this with the big board behind me, which is what we have here at Creed. And lots of great resources, by the way, for those of you who are in the Magic City. Lots of plans for those of you who need that office space or just to do things away. This has been annoying me, a whole series of broadcasts by hanging out. And I think I'm going to just let it do what it does, right? I keep tucking and trying to put it in there, but I'll let it do what it does, okay? So what are we talking about today? Goodness gracious, let me take a little bit of a breath, right? Fade out our theme music and all that stuff. We're talking about relationship red flags, and this train is rolling. So earlier in the week, we talked about the need for having a mind shift with relationships, okay? We talked about the need to have a mind shift because roles have changed. Not going to go back into that. I want to encourage you to take a look back on this page, you can see it, but it's just a discussion. And I want to know, do you agree? See, I like having a conversation and starting a conversation, and I love hearing from you. So I'd love to hear from you. What do you think about that? Do you agree that things have changed? And because of the change, we're relating to each other differently and we're trying to figure that out? I don't think it's bad. I think we're just trying to figure it out, and we're getting some of that settling right now, right? And anytime there's change, I, by the way, am a life coach, but I am the life change strategist. Anytime there's change, there's unsettling, there's redefining, there's shifting. So we're in the midst of all of that, redefining, shifting, realigning, okay? That's where we are. But in the meantime, no need for you to waste your time with that shifting, because sometimes with that shifting, little sneaky things can come in, sneaky behavior that cause us to waste our time. I'm part of the 50 and Fabulous crew. I'm connected to a lot of you who are as well part of the 50 and Fabulous crew. And here's what I do know. We ain't got all that time to waste. Yes, grammatically incorrect, but we ain't got all that time to waste. Listen, y'all, if it doesn't fit, it's okay to change the shoe. If the shoe doesn't work for us, it's okay to get a new pair. I'm not talking to folks who are married. I'm talking to the folks who are dating. Some of you are just like, yep, Kisa, that's what I wanted to hear. Yep. Who are married. Yep. That's my sign. That's my word from the Lord. No, for those of you who are married, you have to consider this from different lens. Okay. If it works, and if it is your word, God will show you how to tastefully and wisely change your status and how to work in your situation. But for those of you who are single, we got a shot. Got a shot at you before you connect and do all that stuff. Okay? If the shoe doesn't work and if it doesn't fit, just change. So today's topic, what are we talking about? Relationship red flags, okay? One red flag that I want to talk about, as I was thinking about all of this, I was like, what could I share with them? Earlier this week, we talked about ghosting. A lot of us have dealt with that. To be real honest with you, I would dare say all of us, most of us have dealt, maybe not all, most of us have dealt with someone ghosting us. Even outside of romantic relationships, we've dealt with that, whether it's that friend ghosting us and just leaving all of a sudden without telling us a thing. I covered that extensively earlier. You can take a look at the video. But today, what's another relationship red flag? Okay. I'll tell you what it is. Let me write on my big board here. Have you ever dealt with anyone who is desperate? You ever dealt with a man or a woman who's desperate? Yeah. If you haven't dealt with them, you certainly know the profile. My personal story on it, and I use my personal stories a lot, y'all, because I'm a coach, so there's a confidentiality clause that I take very seriously with my clients. But I just remember, and this has not happened often, but I certainly remember this, desperate people have certain telltale signs about them. It's just determined it's going to hang out. So I'm going to let it hang. I'm going to let it hang. Desperate people have certain markers. I remember back in the day, I just got this sense about a guy. I was coming to speak to a school, and there was this guy there. I could tell he kind of liked me. He invited me to come speak, but there was something so weird and some overwhelming about his behavior. And I credit the Spirit of God. I credit spirituality because I was really too young to fully understand what it was. But something about his behavior, our paths crossed professionally several times, but something about his behavior was off to me. It didn't seem like it would be the makings or the start of anything that was healthy. His actions seemed desperate to me. It had an air of desperation there, okay? Another instance, even being related to one person, even that I know to this day, I'm very careful about how I relate to him and how much I deal with him because he gives me desperate vibes, okay? Always complimenting me, over complimenting me. You don't ever see him dating anyone, but you just understood, gosh, if I were to have any dealings with this person, it could be a bit overwhelming. They could be a bit overwhelming. So therefore, just made the choice that I wasn't going to deal with them, right? So when I talk about this, rather than, that's my example, a couple of examples I have, but what is desperation in love? What does it mean in a relationship? I'm real big on getting some information to support the things that I say, but desperation can mean a variety of things as we take a look at the screen here, okay? And these are telltale signs as you go out, because I know that a number of you want a relationship. I know a number of you are having challenges in that relationship arena. So whether you have dealt with someone who's desperate or whether you yourself are showing desperate behavior, it's something we've got to get a handle on, because I'll be real honest with you from the perspective of, and even having seen some of my friends deal with people who are desperate. It's not just, I don't just have personal examples. Remember, I'm a coach, so I have examples to support a lot of relationship flaws and a lot of relationship issues, okay? But even seeing some of my friends go through this, it's very unattractive. And you want to talk about something that turns someone off really, really quickly? Act desperate. It turns people off really quickly. So whether you're checking yourself or whether you are dealing with someone who has the signs of it, your discernment may be telling you, your gut, your intuition, ladies, even your gut guys may be telling you something's a little off with her, okay? Something's a little off with him. They make dating a priority. Who are those who are desperate? They're making dating their top priority. You're going to be everything to them. I think about Toni Braxton's song, "You mean the world to me. You are my everything." The only, and I could sing it out and out and out, but it's those lyrics sound great. They sound great, but then you think about it, you mean the world to me. So you're making this person your world. Oh, I think not at 52. Listen to what the screen says. It can be dangerous because it can mean being too depleted to fully show up for a partner. Especially for those of you who are in the 50 and Fabulous crew, we're older now. We've got enough connections. We've got enough of life as life continues to life between our jobs, between our children, between our families. We don't have to make any one person the center of our world. Sure, you want to make a person, when you find your person, they will be your priority. But listen what that closely describes. I'm talking dating. When you're dating, you don't know people, you're just getting to know people. They can't be your priority because you don't know them yet. I'm not yelling, just being strong. You don't know them yet. Being anxious to be with someone. How does that show up? Oh my goodness, I'm waiting for their phone call. Is that them texting? Oh, I've got to try to go see them. I'm sitting around, I'm waiting for any sort of contact, and any contact I get from them, I'm reading into it. Oh, well, does it mean this? Oh my goodness, could they like me? Oh my goodness. No, some people are just friendly. Some people are just friendly. So is it due to your childhood attachment or lack of what you received in childhood that any sort of attention from someone means, oh, they like me, they want me? No, it may not be them, could be you. Dependency on others. When someone is dependent on others, they become hypersensitive to opinion and desperate to please. Ladies, have you ever been in that type of relationship? You're desperate to please this gentleman. Okay, his opinion means everything. And guys can be acutely aware of this, and in some cases, take full advantage of it. Talking about being desperate in relationship and in relationships. So that's the sign, and it's a red flag. No one person can be everything to you. No one person can be everything to me. When you get in a relationship, the relationship should be almost like, if I could describe it accurately, almost like the frosting on the cake, okay? Almost like frosting on the cake. A really good cake doesn't need frosting, but it sure makes it taste sweeter, okay? A really good cake doesn't need frosting. And let me be very specific, okay? Because Kisa grew up with grandma in the kitchen whipping up pound cakes. So a really good pound cake, it doesn't need any icing. But my goodness, when you drizzle it with that lemon frosting, that confectioner's sugar and lemon glaze, or that confectioner's sugar and that vanilla glaze, ooh, it makes it that much sweeter. You don't need it though. Hence, be careful of those who are desperate because they give the impression that there is a need there. So let's talk now. If you're dealing with someone who's desperate, how do you counteract that? Well, first of all, dealing with desperation is, I think you confront it. One of the first things that you need to do when you see it, you need to call it out. Hey, listen, I'm all about that right now, y'all. I'm all about it. Hey, listen, I'm noticing some things. Hey, listen, can we talk? Can we just need to mention something to you? And let me just say this while this came up, this just came up. When you're having that conversation, when you're saying that, be very careful in how you do that and how you approach that. Because in some cases, people who have desperation issues, there's other underlying concerning behavior. So especially if you're dating someone, and by the way, if you're dating someone, you need to date them regularly. You need to date them regularly before you and have seen them several times before they're in your personal space. Ladies, all this on the second date he came to my house, first date he came to my house, my opinion, not good. You need to get to know people in this day and age, okay? Social media, especially we're meeting over chat rooms and on Facebook for dating and eHarmony. No, you need to get to know people and you need to sit out in public and you need to monitor them. And then you need to ask the Spirit of God, what is this person? How are they? Are they safe? How do they handle things? How do they treat me? You need to be watching. And then that person, that being on the inside of you, which is your spirit, which is where God resides, I believe. And I believe he gives it to all of us, whether we are confessing to be his children or not. Some people just say, well, I just had this sixth sense. Okay, I'm thinking Holy Spirit. Those of us who are in Bibledom and in the kingdom, we understand that is the Holy Spirit registering with your spirit. If something's a little bit off, you can know that, you can see that. Give it time. Just drop that in just for you. They don't need to be over your house sofa sitting, ladies, in the first, second, or third time you're talking to them. That needs to come down the line. Because when you have these conversations and you say to someone, hey, I notice, we're moving a little fast, or I noticed that I wasn't trying to ignore you today. I just have a lot of stuff going on. You have to be careful, because in the event that the desperation is a cover or underlying behavior is more serious, you're not in harm's way. Be very careful about how you approach it, but you still want to confront. You don't have to be ugly about that, and make sure when you confront, they're over there and you're over here. They're in their space or away and you're over here. And then after you confront, all right, Spirit of God is dealing with this. And after you confront that behavior, you watch. You don't bring them over to your house or in a private, secluded space right after that. You watch for a little while longer. Forget all this. I'm going to just have him over because he's a real nice. Forget all that. Forget all that. A guy who understands, or a gentleman who is legit, he understands that he doesn't have to be in your space. And some guys are going to take exception with me saying this. Some ladies are going to take exception with me hanging this. I have big shoulders. Bring it on. I can handle it. That's Kisa. We have too much weird stuff going on. People meeting and this person happens to this person. This happens to that person. We're in a different day and age. You need to know people, that you need to know that you know that you know, especially if such and such, doesn't know that person. You're meeting them online. They're from across the country. People can say or do whatever they want. Haven't you seen the examples on social media? Guy shows up. He's everything to this lady, moves in, and she's thinking, where did you come from after a while? Because people can pretend to be anything that they want to with social media and such. Take some time after you confront. If you notice desperate behavior, after you confront or have a conversation, and confrontation does not mean controversial. It doesn't mean arguing, yelling, or doing anything like that. It just means let's have a talk. And when you do it, you be in your home in a safe space. Make sure they're in their home in a safe space or away from you. And then after you confront them, I'm saying it again so you'll get this. After you confront, watch. Don't invite them over the next day. Give it some time. Give it for the next month. Give it the next 2 or 3 months. See how they behave. Yeah, but I might lose him if he's pressuring. Yeah, this is a good man. I don't want to lose him. No, he's checking all the boxes. Now you're acting desperate. Yep, you're acting desperate. Because if he wants you, you all are going to have a conversation, and you're going to say, you can say, hey, I don't mean any harm by it. Just being careful. There's a way you can talk to a guy. He'll fully understand, and you don't have to offend him. You can just say, I would love for us. I look forward. Let me give you PR person here. Let me give you a little sound bite. So you can take this. This is absolutely free. No charge for this one this time. I don't mean any harm by questioning or just wanting to kind of take it slow before I invite you over to my residence. Just let's hang out. I'm enjoying getting to know you. Let's just hang out. I just, right now I'm just taking precautions. You understand that. Of course, if you have a mother, you have a sister. If he has, both, you have a mother, well, he will have one, at least we know, a mother. You understand, just being cautious. That's all. I don't mean any harm. I'm not trying to be offensive. Just want to take our time and just make sure this is right. I want to continue enjoying meeting you out and going different places and hanging out. I really appreciate you understanding. See how that tonality goes over. You're communicating your boundary, but you're doing it in a way that is non-offensive. So confrontation is a way to deal with a desperate person. Number two, I just alluded to it. Boundaries. You enact and you communicate your boundaries. You have the conversation, not controversial, doesn't have to be. And then you communicate your boundaries. Hey, I know you're thinking that you know, maybe in the past you've dated some people, don't know, but my comfort zone is here. My comfort zone is in taking a little time, being out and enjoying each other and getting to know each other, in a public space. So, later on, as things progress, don't have a problem inviting you over. But right now, I'd love for us to just keep it in a public space. Let's go out, let's eat, let's enjoy life, let's have fun. Let's enjoy. We'll have plenty of time to sofa sit. You see how that tonality? So you've basically told him, I'm just using this example, guys, don't be offended. You basically told him, I don't really want to sofa sit with you. I'm not comfortable with that. But you've done it in a way that's so masterful and so classy. I don't know how he could be offended with that. Okay? So when you notice desperate behavior, someone prioritizing you too much, someone focusing on you too much, even at the exclusion of other things, someone focusing on the relationship and always being available too much, these are the ways that you deal with it. You confront, you reestablish your boundaries, and then thirdly, here's what you do. You watch. Confront, communicate your boundaries, and then watch. When you're dealing with a desperate person or people who exhibit desperate or anxious behavior in a relationship, you confront, you communicate your boundaries, and then you watch. Now let me show you what I mean. And let's talk about some things that you'll notice with a person who is desperate. I wrote it out for you. What will you notice in a person who's desperate? What you'll notice is a person who operates in excess. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm glad you asked. Glad you asked. Take a little sip of my coffee. Excess compliments. Excess in buying you gifts, trying to win favor with you. You're out on a first date and they've bought you, who knows, what's something that just would be excessive on a first date? They're bringing you a necklace on the first date. I appreciate it, but you don't know me. Why are you buying me a necklace? Why are you buying me a charm? Someone who wants to take you out of the country on a second date within a month of knowing you. Oh, let's go travel. Let's go out of the country. Let's go do this. Let's go whatever. Too much, too soon. That's excess. Someone who compliments you 5 and 6 times that you can't get through the conversation without over complimenting you. Now compliments are nice, but we're talking excess. And a person who's desperate, there's excess there. And if you're not careful, if you've been waiting a long time to go on a date, if you're not careful, if you haven't had a relationship in a while, all of this will feed into disarming you really, really quickly. It can go along the line of that love bombing, which is a tool a narcissist will use, love bombing you, complimenting you heavily at first, and they'll do it to disarm you and to get your guard down, and then by the time you see the real person, your emotions have gotten involved. You're weaker because your boundaries have been lowered. They compliment you. They're giving you things really quickly, taking you out of town, dinner, 3 nights a week for the first month. All of that, if that's a love language of yours, or if that's something that you like, it will disarm you and what that means, it will disarm you. You'll get relaxed. And then when that true person emerges, or when that other side of that person emerges later, because we never know a person in a month. We don't know people in 3 weeks. I don't care what you say. Even for those who've been married and were successful, Lord, God bless. Even those who said I'm married and we got married after 3 weeks. Okay, God bless. Perhaps that did happen. God bless, God had mercy. But we don't really know them. There was just some grace there. Okay. There's some mercy there because we don't know people in that short time. So a person who's desperate, they're going to focus on excess, doing too much, too much. And if you're desperate, if it's feeling an insecurity or a void within you, you'll feed right into it. And all the time it's knocking your guard down. So when unfavorable, suspicious, or negative behavior, or even dangerous behavior, so if that emerges later, you're less likely to deal with it because why? You've been love bombed, you've been given all these things up front, and they're just like the best person ever. So even people who are telling you it's too much, it's too much, you don't want to hear them. It sounds like an indictment. You're angry with them because they're saying, be careful, because through their excess compliments, their excess gifts, and their excess time, even time, spending too much time with you at first. They want all your time on a Saturday. They're hanging out with you 4 days a week, 5 days a week. Sometimes things are a little bit too much when you have your life. Okay. What's another item to look out for someone who is talking about relationship red flags? Desperation, a lack of accountability. A person who's desperate, they're not going to have anybody around them that they're going to look out for. On a day-to-day basis, they're not going to hang with anybody. They're going to hang with themselves, and with me, myself, and I, the team of I, the team of me. Because see, other people would have the opportunity to speak in their life and say, hey man, hey young lady, you're doing too much now. You're doing too much. You're moving too fast. See, that's what an accountability system will do. People will hold you accountable. Hey, you're doing too much. Hey, I don't like you doing that. Or I don't like, you're moving too fast, man. Young lady, you're moving too fast. You're doing too much. An accountability system will tell you that. If they don't have an accountability system, watch out, because the accountability system will challenge them. The person, and when I say accountability system, I mean people that they have in place who will challenge them, who will confront them, and who will encourage them. Someone that they regularly talk to outside of you, who can encourage them or give them some sound advice. Okay, that's going to be present with a person who's desperate. It could be present. Another thing that could be present with a person who's desperate is a hyper focus on you. Yes, I know that we all want that. Yes, it's great in the beginning. But when life starts lifing and we're moving forward and you have things to do, they have things to do. When life starts lifing, things start happening. And you start saying, now, wait a minute now, I have to go to work. Now, wait a minute now, I have my friends. Wait a minute now, I want to spend time with my family. Wait a minute now, we just had a date last night for this weekend. Can I go spend time with my mom? Me and my mom normally get together on the weekend. Me and my sister, me and my girls normally go hang out. You and I have been hanging out for the past 3 weekends. I want to spend some time with my girls. You and I have traveled for the past 6 months. Now I want to go on a girls trip. Hyper focus on you and you alone. And a desperate person, talking about being desperate, they're normally going to want to just focus on you, and they don't want to share because they are making you the center of their world, and they're putting all the focus on you to fill a void that's within themselves. We're talking about relationship red flags. Desperation is a relationship red flag. If you had any experience with someone who's desperate, I want to hear about it. And if you're dealing with it currently, it's time to back up. Yeah, back up. We're talking in dating now. Back up, pump the brakes, and let's think about it first. And perhaps then when you see that behavior, or if you understand that's what you've been dealing with, then you go back, and this is where you enact these things. You confront them, you communicate your boundaries, and then you watch. And whatever that watch means, if it means taking a little time off to see how they respond and how they act, you have to be very careful, because people who are emotionally fragile, they don't respect and they don't appreciate being confronted. They definitely don't appreciate having boundaries. So therefore, when you communicate, you watch. And even if need be, you communicate that you've shared this with someone else, so they will know, girl, I told him because he's just doing too much. I've told him, and we're going to just see. And that may mean you just kind of chill out a little bit. And most importantly, let me conclude by saying this, because I'm giving you all these tips. And with all of these tips, everything is personal and individual and specific for your situation. You have to take all of this information All the information I have posted on the screen, you have to take it and you have to filter it. I've just never done that. Okay. You have to take that, the hyper focus on you. You have to take it and you have to filter it into your situation. Okay. But let me encourage you and conclude by saying this. The greatest thing that you can do is rely on the Spirit of God for guidance and rely on the Spirit of God to lead you. He can show you, okay, God, I've communicated this. When you pray, when you acknowledge Him, okay, God, I've communicated this. What do I do now? How do I pivot now? What should be my next step? And listen, don't allow anybody to pressure you. Don't allow that person that you're communicating with. I mean, we know what desperate looks like. Look, we're grown. We know what desperate looks like. We know when someone's desperate. Once you've communicated and said, I'm uncomfortable, I would like for you to do whatever, you don't owe anybody anything. This is your life. Sometimes we've got to be firm enough to stand on our square, even if it means standing alone. Well, he may leave me. He's threatening to leave me. Let him go. He's got some other people to talk to. Let him go talk to those other people. Because when people have relationship flaws, you're not losing anything. When they have these red flags, you're not losing. You're not losing. You are stepping over and you're preparing the way for the person who knows how to properly love you, who knows how to give you your boundaries willingly, who's going to build and be healthy. You're going to be in a healthy and happy relationship with someone who's going to compromise. Don't be afraid. That's the other side of that too. I don't want to do that. I might lose him. If you lose them, they're not for you. Now, it's all in how you do it. You don't have to get crazy and fight and fuss and cuss and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that. There's a manner in which you do it. But I'm just saying if they are to be lost because you're communicating your comfort level, to the left. Let them go. We don't have time for that in 2024. Let them go. And trust God to continue to help you date. Have the confidence in God to help you date and to understand you are fabulous. You are worthy of a great relationship, and you do not have to tolerate any sort of junk from anyone. Talking about relationship red flags, everybody. I'm Keisha. I'm Coach K. Listen, I'm going to get out of here. And remember, if you need to talk to me, KeishaSharp.com/life coaching. You can schedule a complimentary coaching session. We're back with our final installment tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Appreciate you for being here, okay? Be safe out there. We'll talk to you later.